Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of 52 Authors, 52 Weeks. And I am here with author. And you know what's so funny? I tell everybody this. I don't do any pre-interviews, right? So I'm going to pray that I say your first name right. August, the August part I got. But I'm going to go with Risa.
Well, you would think by the way it's spelled, it should be Risa, but my mom decided it'll be pronounced Rissa as if it had two S's in it.
Okay,
So,
you know what's so funny about names and the intent of our parents? A little unknown fact, but my legal first name is Lisa Lynette. And I honestly did not find out until I went to get a passport, and nothing in life has Lisa Lynette on it. It's all Lisa. I thought Lynette was my middle name. So our moms were definitely, they had their own agenda when they were giving us our names.
yes.
So, so she's the author of The Road Unpaved, Border to Border, with a brain tumor and a bike. Guys, you are in for a treat because the brain tumor and the bike are just a small portion of this journey. There's actually more. So, why don't you tell our listening, viewing audience who you are, what you're doing today before we jump into the book?
Sure. Well, I'm actually based in Colorado, but I happen to be in Madrid, Spain right now. I just finished a 500-mile bike ride on the Camino de Santiago, and which very well, most likely will be a part of my next book. And now I'm enjoying some wonderful food and exploration in the city of Madrid.
Wow. Did you wait a minute? Let me just make sure because sometimes I have wax in my ears. Did you say 500 miles?
Yes.
500.
500 of lots of hills, beautiful landscape, but more hills than I have to admit that I would ever want to have to ever do.
Wow. Well, you must be in excellent shape in order to do those 500 miles.
Oh gosh, some of it, I guess I feel like I'm in good mental shape for that for sure. But there was definitely big challenges along the way for
Oh,
sure.
wow. Wow. So before we ride into the book, I want to share with our listening, viewing audience that you had a rare pituitary disease, as well as this 18-year marriage that was in shambles. But can you share with our listening, viewing audience what that rare pituitary disease is about?
Sure. Yeah, so I was diagnosed with a massive tumor sitting on my pituitary gland, which your pituitary gland is the size of a pea. And my tumor was larger than a golf ball. And so it started growing out of the little cavern it was in and into all different places it shouldn't go. Uh, and this tumor actually causes a rare disease called acromegaly, which destroys the body over time. And yes, and so a lot of times it requires, brain surgery and sometimes radiation treatment, sometimes medication for life, which has its own side effects. But earlier diagnosis can be change your whole trajectory. And that's too late for me, but my goal is to uh, share my story so that other people might get diagnosed sooner.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for being brave enough to share your story. I remember about 10 years ago, I had a friend who had to have brain surgery.
Mm.
And as a woman, a wife, a mother, now a grandmother, a friend, a healthcare professional from a non-clinical perspective, nothing could have prepared me to walk in that room to see her head shaved off and the where the incision was. And as a healthcare professional who audits medical records, I've seen lots of medical records, lots of pictures of brain surgery, have had an opportunity to go into the operating room with clinicians. So I've seen it, right? But it's different when someone you know and love, it's happening to them. And so the fact that, and I'm going to tell her she needs to write a book. The fact that you are here with me today to share this story, to share your journey is powerful because there are some people who may be experiencing some type of symptoms related to a brain tumor or a tumor in general, and they're ignoring the signs because sometimes our body does let us know that there are some things going on, and we kind of just, well, you know what? I'm so busy. I'll get to it later. And sometimes later is too late. So the fact
Yeah.
that you're here is such a blessing. It's such a blessing.
Oh,
And 500 miles that it is all in itself. So you got this shocking diagnosis, but then you also had this 18-year marriage that was in shambles. And so, what was going through your mind as these two worlds were, for lack of better words, colliding? You know, the diagnoses and the marriage.
yes. Well, you know, a part of my personal journey was, how do I want to word this? It was all about perfection. I had to be perfect. My whole life was perfect. And I strived to be perfect. I strived to look perfect, to feel perfect, for everyone to see me as perfect, and I can do it. And don't worry, you can give it all to me, and I can do it, and I can handle everything, and everything's perfect. And then all of a sudden, nothing was. And then you come to realize that's all an illusion, anyways. and and so in one regard, yes, my whole world felt like it was falling apart. And now reflecting back on it, uh, I can see all the gifts in it and the lessons in it, and who I'm becoming because of it. But man, when you're in it, you're just like, I was like, what? WTF? Why did I deserve this? Like, why me?
Oh, I
But
get it. I get it.
yeah, yeah. But it's truly made me a better person for sure.
And you're smiling. You know, the fact that you're smiling speaks volumes because you're not just smiling from the outside. I can see the smile from inside out. And that's when you know that you truly have, you're the moving forward is not a perfect process, but the fact that you're on the bike and you're continuing to roll around, right? That shows that you have a desire to not stay in the same place. Because when you get on the bike, you're moving, right? You're not just
Oh,
sitting still. So I can tell you as a mother and a parent of a special needs daughter who's now 32, when I got her diagnosis, and it was not a brain tumor, but it was in several intellectual disabilities. deafness. At first they said she wasn't going to walk until she was 7. I kept saying, like, why me? Like, I had prenatal care, right? The moment I found out I was pregnant, because my mother was like, you're pregnant, right? So I had all this excellent prenatal care. And then I get this card that was dealt to me. And why me, this good person, this person who is a go-getter and all of that? Why me? But once I got off of the why me bandwagon, I was able to move forward, but it wasn't without, some challenges. And I often say that it's those moments and those situations that are showing us how strong, how resilient we are. And sometimes we look in the mirror and say, who is this that's still, on this journey? Because some people would not be able to handle it. But I realize, and you probably have realized, the reason that it happened to you is because you could handle it. And you're not living for you, you're living so that others can hear your story. And maybe it's not a brain tumor, maybe it's something else, maybe it's breast cancer, right? Maybe it's something else that has tried to shake the foundation of their life, but through your story they can realize that I can make it. I can make it.
Yes, that everything you said is so true and profound. And oh my gosh, your journey. I want to ask more questions.
No, because we can't cry on here. I told somebody this is a no crying show. No, you know what? I'm okay with on one of these episodes if I cry. And because I believe when you are crying, you're supposed to be crying because it's peeling away some layers that you didn't want to peel back, and you need to peel them back so you can move forward.
Oh, absolutely. I love that so much. And I agree with everything you were saying. And I think and two, as we kind of evolve through these lessons and these, the hardships and challenges of life, we also evolve from it. And so it certainly doesn't mean, like you said, that things are going to be smooth sailing the rest of the way. But for me, I feel better equipped to handle what comes my way. And now I'm able to shift my mindset and my perspective and look at things differently. And and like I said, I hate to keep repeating it, but what a gift. Like how blessed I am, how lucky I am to really view the world differently and view myself differently and want to be better and want to do better. And so I love that I was given that opportunity.
I
You
love that you were giving it too.
know. Thank you.
So let's talk about this bicycle. I have a bicycle in the garage, and I asked my husband 2 weeks ago to get it ready for the summer, and he made this comment like, "For what? You're not going to get on it, right?" Because I have two bicycles, and the one that goes outside, I did not get on it because I don't like bugs. And right now, we have some bugs that are visiting our neighborhood, that are visiting neighborhoods in many places, the cicadas. And so, but I made a commitment to myself that I was going to ride the bike this summer. And reading your journey made me even more motivated. Now, I'm not going to do 500 miles. I may do 500 miles in a year. I got to do some math on that. But I can tell you without any medical diagnoses, when I'm riding my bike outside or my Peloton bike, a lot of times I'm listening to spiritual music. and I'm crying, and I just feel so refreshed when I'm done. Not only is my heart um happy, but I'm happy that I took that ride. So tell us about this I want to call it a movement where you did this journey from Canada to Mexico. And I'm like, I was looking on a map and I was like, this lady is amazing because that path it's pretty long. So tell us about why you decided to do this. Someone is gonna see this episode and they're gonna dust off their bike because many of us have bikes that need to be dust off, and the tires, the air in it, and all the pressure and all that things, and we need to get going, even if it's just 1 mile.
Exactly. Well, first, before I get into that, I want to ask you, what's your bike's name?
Well, it doesn't have a name. It's a purple bike. I got purple to differentiate from my husband's blue bike. But now maybe I'll give her a name because she must be a her. I'm going to think about that as we're walking through your journey. I'm going to come up with my name for my bike
Okay.
because you know what, she needs a name, and I've also decided if my husband does not put the air in the tires, I'm going to put the bike in the back of the truck, and I am going to take it to the Dick's Sporting Goods because they got a guy that can get it back ready for summertime riding, because I want to be outside as soon as the cicadas leave.
I love it. You're all about action. I love it. Well, yes, getting into my 1,800-mile journey, I started off as an Ironman athlete, and uh, I was really also into CrossFit and very active. And after my brain surgery and radiation treatment, I could barely get off the couch. And because of the damage my disease already had done to my body, I quickly realized I wouldn't ever be able to run again. Even walking far distances is challenging for me. Oh, it's extremely painful. And so I stopped focusing on what I could no longer do. And I started asking myself, well, what can I do? Well, I can still bike. And I just dusted off my bucket list. And one of those things were ride my bike from coast to coast. And so I just, for the heck of it, started looking at routes. And I didn't really like any of them. You kind of go through some, boring states or, not very interesting. But then I found the Pacific Coast route from Canada to Mexico along Highway 1 and 101. And I was like, that's the one. And literally within minutes, I was looking at like tour operators, anything I could find about it. And I found a semi-supported tour company, and they would haul my gear, and but I had to get from point A to point B each day. And I was like, great, I don't want anyone to bug me. I want to just do it, but at least I don't have to worry about my gear. And so that's what I did. I signed up on the spot, and it was really a driving force, a motivator to it was this conscious decision of, well, I can sit here and not get off the couch and basically not live, or I can get up and do life, and I can do it bigger and better than before.
Wow. I love that you allowed mindset to guide your decisions instead of what you saw in front of you or what they said you couldn't do. You found a way that worked for you that still got you to the end result. And you probably did something that you needed to do in the first place, and this just set you up for doing it.
Yes, I mean, and there were even people like doctors telling me I shouldn't do this. And, you know, probably some friends and family questioning, well, do you need to go to this extreme? And so it really became this thing for me. Well, it's going to be a soul journey. And, you know, I'm not doing it for you. I'm not doing it for anyone else. Well, and I'm going to prove y'all wrong.
Listen, I am the type of person, this is probably, I don't know if you call it a good trait or a bad trait. If you tell me that I can't do something, I am going to do it. And as soon as you tell me, because somebody told me, and this is a totally different situation, but I was making a decision about leaving my corporate job to just focus on entrepreneurship. And someone said to me that's currently still there, you can't leave. We need you. That was one statement she would say to me. The other statement she would say, because I had already started my business. I actually started the business before I had even had that job. She said to me, I feel so bad that your business isn't making enough money for you to leave the job. And those two statements that she said to me, I made it my mission. Now, I never said anything to her about it. If she hears this, she'll know exactly who she is, right? Because she's the one that said it. She probably won't hear it, but who knows? I don't care if she does, right? Because since leaving that job, I am in alignment with my assignment for life. I'm walking in my purpose. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing because I believe in me. No matter what anybody else does or says, I believe in me. And when the doctors told me that my daughter wasn't going to walk, after 7 years of life, my daughter started walking. So you can't tell me that
Wow.
miracles can't happen, right? Um, I just believed in my mind that she was going to be able to do it. And so I just had to focus on her being able to do it as opposed to her not being able to do it. But I also was okay if she was not able to do it, but I just believed that she could.
Yes, absolutely. You were focusing your intentions in the outcome you wanted. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yes, yes. And you know what? I'm the oldest daughter. And I think about how vivid an imagination I had as a child, this girl here. And I was 5 years old. And the imagination that she had, I brought that version of her back to my life. And it's been such an amazing journey because this girl had an imaginary friend, right? And this imaginary friend and her did some great things. And so when I think about and let me just tell you, my assistant got me this little blurb about your book, and it fits perfectly how you talk about being trapped in a body that no longer feels like it's your own, right? I felt like in that corporate space that I was never going to be who I was supposed to be. And I was giving them so much of my skills, my talents, my abilities. And I kept growing while I was working there. But now that I've cut ties, I'm growing so much faster. It's unbelievable. I just every day I wake up and say, what took you so long?
Right? Yes. Hey, but we're glad you got here.
Yes, yes, because I decided and I came up with my name for my bike. Her name, I'm a thinker. So her name is Peace.
Oh, I love that.
Because I tell you, when I'm writing her, it's so peaceful. It's so peaceful because first of all, my legs are able to move. I'm breathing as I am riding up and down, my neighborhood. And those are things that I don't take for granted because as a parent of a child who doesn't talk, who she doesn't really know that it's 2024, I do. I know those things, right? I'm experiencing life and I can't take it for granted because I know, well, I don't know, but I can imagine what life is like for her, being able to see us and us doing things, but she doesn't necessarily know what's going on. So since I can hear and see, I need to live
Oh,
because I only get this one life, right?
beautiful. Yes. Yes.
So
Beautiful.
let's talk a little bit about so you signed up, you were like, I'm all in. I don't have to move this equipment, which was good, right? You could just show up and ride. What was the journey like as you were riding mile by mile? What was that journey like for you?
Oh, I think when I first showed up, I was quickly reminded of the damp Pacific Northwest and the group of people I was with who were sharing the same van. There was like 10 of us sharing this van to transport our gear. And I remember thinking, why am I doing this? And since I'm doing it, why didn't I do it alone? Like, I just felt very kind of like, just get out of my way. You stay out of my way, I'll stay out of your way. So that was my initial thought. But
And then
again,
what happened? What happened?
well, that changed over time. I won't reveal too much. But uh, yeah, I started settling in and realizing that the trip wasn't going to be at all what I planned, which is how my entire life turned out. Wasn't all what I had planned. And that's okay. Ugh,
Mm-hmm.
I feel myself getting a little emotional over that.
Oh, well, and I've been trying not to be emotional. Um, but I firmly believe and I'm learning this, I'm accepting this. It's amazing to be 51. First of all, not look 51, but be 51. And every day I'm learning. I am navigating the unknown, and it's scary. It's scary because, like you, I am the type of person that likes to know all the things beforehand, and things will be happening this way. And quitting the job to focus on entrepreneurship, not knowing how am I going to eat? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay for expenses that I have to pay for my daughter? That was what kept me in that comfortable place. But once I made the decision to become comfortable being uncomfortable, that's when, for me, life started happening. But every day is a new day. And even this morning, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking, okay, you got this bill and that bill that you need to pay. And how are you going to do it? And I was up for about, I don't know, hour and a half. I came downstairs to my chair and I just sat there in silence. And I went back upstairs and went to sleep and woke back up with a renewed sense of it was going to be okay. And I share that because not knowing is not good for a type A personality.
Yes. Yes, I can agree with that 100%. It is a very uncomfortable place.
But in the moments of being uncomfortable, it's what is, you talk about your equipment. The moments of being uncomfortable is giving me the tools that I need for my tool belt to help motivate others to grow, because I'm not talking about something that I read somewhere. I'm talking about something that I've experienced. And these were the tools that I use, which then help someone else. I'm sure that riding a bike can help with depression, because you're just, and you might have your music on, it might be silent. You are, one of the things I love about riding outside is the nature. Now, I don't know about riding when it's damp. And I did ride one time when it was cold, and it was definitely willpower that got me through. When you're riding through the neighborhood, you're either going to continue your path or you're going to turn back around and go back the way that you came. And again, the way my brain is wired, if I'm supposed to be going this way, I need to keep going through my path that I've taken for my miles. Cause I'm like, I turned on my little app, right? And I committed to doing the 5 miles. So I gotta execute, right? So it's all those conversations that you're having with yourself. But like you are have becoming who you were supposed to be all along. You just had to have this detour that took you off the path, that put you back on the path. And I would encourage you, I don't know what you are doing in terms of telling your stories to others, but I believe that there are so many people who need to hear from you about your story, because the more you tell them, you will heal from your own story. Because there are others who are at mile marker number 0.25, and you're all the way over there, and your journey, your story can help them get there, just one little marker at a time, because we all need each other to help with whatever our journey is, even we don't even realize we need that help.
Oh, so true. And thank you so much for saying that. And I think oftentimes we forget too that it's all a part of the journey, not just the ups and the coasting and the smooth sailing. Like even the rough times and the hard times and the challenging, it's all a part of it. It's all a part of the life. And so if we just open up to accepting it or experiencing all of it, and you don't have to love it. You can even ask why, but it's still all a part of it. And so the quicker you can shift perspective or navigate differently, it can change the whole trajectory of things.
It can. So
Yeah.
what does the future hold for you? What plans do you have post Madrid? Which that's on my list. My list is pretty long in terms of places that I want to go to. I say I want to go to all 7 continents. I think I've been to 3 of 7. That Antarctica is just not looking like it's not looking like I want to go there. I live in Chicago. I know about cold weather. That's colder than Chicago. So maybe a cruise ship, I can dip my toe in the area and say I've been here, and then get back on the ship into the warm area. But so what's the future look like? What are you planning?
Oh my gosh. Well, the interesting thing is when we were talking about uncertainty and how we, like our personalities, we really like to know the plan. And I don't have one right now for the first time in my life. I'm doing a lot of speaking and coaching and kind of building my entrepreneurship and practice and my practice and my side business and um, uh, but it's the first time in my life I don't know. I've started a second book and I'm figuring all of it out right now, and it's scary and exciting, and it's all of it.
Mm.
So,
So what's the name of your bike?
oh, my bike is Moxie, and I actually forget the definition of it. It's in my book though, but it's all about having grit and kind of gumption and going forward. And she's my superstar.
And I'm surprised you. So do you have more than one bike?
I do, yes.
Okay, because I mean, real bike riders have more than one bike and different features and all of that. Us basic bike riders, we just have the one bike. I will say, no shade to like Walmart or Target, but I did go to, a regular bike store. They still exist some places to get a bike because I wanted something that was gonna last, especially since I'm not obviously riding it every day. So, well, you know what? It's okay not to know exactly what the future holds for you, but I suspect that the future involves you having an impact on others bigger than you could have ever imagined that you would have this impact on individuals, because it's so many people with so many different things. And you definitely could be this inspiration, this motivation for those who are riding the unpaved road, because
Oh,
I've been out of the country on roads that weren't paved, and the car is doing like this, and you're complaining about it, but at the same time you're like, wait a minute, I have this privilege to be on this road, so I might as well just buckle up and enjoy the ride.
yeah. Oh gosh, you're getting me emotional, Dr. Lisa.
So, is there any? Because I think our time is up. First, I want to thank you so much for being brave enough to write your book. Um, are there any final words of inspiration, motivation, final statement you want to leave our listening, viewing audience? I will tell you that I have had this vision of 52 authors, 52 weeks, 2024 version. Where are they now for next year? So, and I think it's a way to hold us all accountable for doing something, bigger than us. So watch out for that. But what are your final, words that you want to leave our audience with today?
Oh my gosh, I love that idea. It'll really get me going to get my manuscript done, my second manuscript.
It's your accountability partner, right?
Exactly, yes. I love that idea. That's fantastic. I would say is, redirect your focus instead of focusing on the things you can't do or the ideas that perhaps you've created around what's not possible. Start asking yourself, well, what can I do? And even if it's just a very small thing, take that first step. I had no idea how I was going to finish 1,800-mile bike ride. And you don't have to do an 1,800-mile bike ride, but I took one small step. And that was actually getting dressed, getting up and getting dressed each day. That was my first step in that whole process. And eventually I made it from Canada to Mexico. So ask yourself, focus on, well, what can I do? What's possible? Open yourself up to that.
Wow. 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 There is so much more that we could unpack today, but these sessions are only 30 minutes, and this is the beginning and not the end. So I want to wish you well in your journey. You will be hearing from me because I don't believe that all of this happened for nothing. I know that there is a reason that all of this is happening, and I'm just along for the journey. I'm along for the journey because I know we're going to help so many people as well as help ourselves. Because I think, you know, from coast to coast, we are all in this together, and we could be the bright shining light for those who we are all going to impact in the years to come. And, you know, at 51, I got a lot of things that I am going to be doing. And so I'm writing down my visions and taking those moments of silence and manifesting those things and just allowing them to happen. Even if I don't know how. No
Right?
clue
Right.
how it's going to happen, but just believing in something bigger than me.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Lisa.
Thank you so much. Well, listen, everyone. Whew, this has been another amazing episode of 52 Authors, 52 Weeks. I'll see you next time.